Twice in 1 month, companies full of exceptionally smart people have shipped AI features capable of producing convincing synthetic imagery that could be misinterpreted as evidence. Then watch as the public demonstrated the risk within hours or days and then withdrew, restricted, or revised the features. The question is not whether these tools can be misused, it's why foreseeable misuse keeps being discovered by the public instead of in review that approves the launch in the first place. The latest high profile example was Google. The company added image generation to Google Earth on the web in late July, inviting users to zoom into a place, tap create image, and type, in Google's own words, whatever you want to see. The tool produced synthetic, photorealistic images grounded in Google's authentic satellite, aerial, and 3D imagery for the exact location selected. Within hours, researcher Henk van Ess generated refugees at the Mexican border and a nuclear plant in Iran. Other researchers generated false disaster imagery, including a bomb crater at a hospital in Gaza. One day after launch, Google rolled the feature back, stating that people uniquely trust Google Earth for reliable view of the world and that they are working on implementing stronger guardrails. Now, the generated images did not alter Google Earth's shared base imagery or appear in the main Google Earth experience for other users. Google said they were marked as AI generated, but they could be screenshotted, downloaded, and circulated outside the product, which is exactly what happened. In early July, Meta shipped a feature alongside its Muse image model that let users mention public Instagram accounts as reference material for AI generated images. The account owner was not notified when their account was referenced. Public adult accounts were included by default unless the owner changed their settings. Now, the backlash over consent, likeness use, and the obvious path to non consensual imagery took about 3 days to end the experiment. A meta statement said the feature missed the mark. This cycle has run before. I wrote in January about XAI shipping an image tool that generated sexualized imagery of children before its safeguards caught up. XAI did not simply remove the capability at the time, it restricted access and adjusted controls after public backlash. Image models have also been producing plausible receipts and invoices on request for more than a year. Ship, public backlash, then withdrawal, add some restrictions or newly announced safeguards. The patterns become commonplace, and each round ends with a statement describing as a surprise something foreseeable from the feature description alone. Martino Jarian sees it the same way. His company, AMP Software, builds the image and video analysis tools forensic examiners use to test photos and footage. How do features with such clear misuse potential make it through the design, review, and approval process, he asks in a LinkedIn post after the Google Earth reversal. Now, his standard doesn't seem to be that every conceivable abuse should stop a launch. It is that deception, impersonation, and fake evidence are foreseeable misuses, and foreseeable misuse should be weighed, in his words, before a public launch rather than after the backlash begins. The reality is today, every demo prompt is also a fraud prompt. The marketing demo and the fraud scenario are the same feature with different nouns. Google pitched the Earth tool for real estate renderings. Add a cabin to this empty lakefront lot. On a claims desk, that prompt reads, add storm damage to this roof. A tool that can reimagine an intersection for an urban planner can reimagine the same intersection for a party disputing what a driver could see. This matters because the imagery these tools imitate carries courtroom weight. Aerial and satellite images have helped establish property lines, sight lines and crash reconstructions, roof conditions and storm claims, and scene geography in criminal trials. Courts have long recognized that machine generated imagery can raise questions of malfunction, tampering, and authentication. When a defendant challenged a Google Earth exhibit in 2015, the Ninth Circuit wrote that concerns about tampering are addressed by the rules of authentication. But the defendant in that case had not actually objected to the exhibit's authentication, so the decision did not establish a simple rule for authenticating disputed Google Earth imagery. The case nonetheless illustrates the legal framework. The issue is not whether a digital image looks persuasive, but whether its origin, handling, and claimed meaning can be established. What changed is the threat model, so to speak, or the ease at which somebody can create a fake. A party no longer needs specialized geospatial tools, source data access, or sophisticated image editing skills to create a plausible, location-grounded synthetic visual. The authentication question is not new. The speed, accessibility, and visual credibility of the manipulations are. And for one day in late July, it only took a sentence to make these fakes. Look, it's good that Meta and Google walked back these capabilities, but a walk back cannot undemonstrate the capability. Everyone who watched the Google Earth cycle now knows that a screenshot of a trusted geospatial environment can be turned into a location grounded synthetic image in seconds, a deep fake. Well, I don't think that necessarily makes every authentic aerial exhibit suspect. It does mean that authentic exhibits now face a more practical and easily weaponized version of an old authentication question. What is the source? And what happened between the source and the image now offered? And can you reproduce the process? Or who can reproduce the process? Google's rollback note said the generated images were watermarked as AI generated. The public tested the verification path too. Researcher Ted Haugen fed the fake Gaza hospital image back to Google's Gemini chatbot and asked it to check for Synth ID, the company's invisible watermark. Gemini reported no reliable signs were detected indicating how the content was created. And Futurism ran its own test. Gemini said it was unsure if the image was made with Google AI. Those results do not prove that the watermark was absent or that Synth ID never works. They show something more operationally significant. Google's public verification path did not reliably identify a high-risk synthetic image made through Google's own Earth workflow. A provenance signal that requires someone to check it, then returns an inconclusive answer cannot carry the evidentiary weight users may assume it carries. And the capability did not leave either. The model behind the feature, Nano Banana 2, remains available in Gemini, where users can upload an image, including a map of Earth screenshot, and request edits in natural language. The Earth rollback removed an especially frictionless location-grounded workflow. It did not remove the broader capability to edit geospatial imagery. The rollback removed a doorway, but the room is still there. Companies will keep building image tools, and there are real uses for every one of these features. And that is exactly why the review question Jarian is asking deserves an answer before the next launch instead of after it. Somewhere right now, a feature with the same obvious dual use is moving through an approval process on the strength of its demo. It will ship. Someone will type the fraud version of the marketing prompt within hours, and the company will discover in public what a digital forensics examiner could have told them in the design meeting. The feature will be reversible. What it teaches the world about what can be faked and what can be trusted is not. I'm Lars Daniel, digital forensics expert and Forbes contributor. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe.